because I think that's actually a really important part of the story so people know who really holds the cards here.
Yeah, well, you made a very important point. These tariffs are not reciprocal by definition. They're unilateral and aggressive. The Trump's team used a formula, and it's widely suspected that they used artificial intelligence, ChatGPT
Right.
or something, which is very possible, because it's not based on other countries' tariff rates. It's based on the trade deficit that the U.S. has with each country, which is why there are these uninhabited islands with penguins that are being tariffed. And it's why these small, just tiny little nations, like, for instance, the African nation of Lesotho, which the U.S. basically sells nothing to them, and they export a little to the U.S., so the U.S. is putting 50% tariffs on them, which is crazy. It's not because Lesotho, this tiny little African nation, has 50% tariffs on the U.S.
They were screwing us over, Ben. We got to show Lesotho who's boss.
Yeah, exactly. Or like the Falkland Islands off of Argentina. Yeah, it's great. And it's also very funny because you have some of these right-wing leaders in Latin America, like Javier Milei in Argentina or Nayib Bukele in El Salvador, who have been doing everything they can to bow down to Trump, and yet he still hits them with these tariffs. But anyway, getting back to this issue of the exceptions. So then, in response to that, China actually implemented reciprocal tariffs. They said, okay, Trump announced a certain level. It was 43% plus the original 20%. China said, okay, they already had the 20% that they applied, so we'll apply 43%, which is actual reciprocal tariffs. And then Trump said China was attacking the U.S., even though China was responding to his attack. So he kept raising it. And basically every few days he raises it more and more, which is mostly symbolic because after you reach a certain point, Chinese products are going to become much more expensive and there's not going to be much trade. So he kept raising it and raising it. It was 145%. And then Trump just added another 100%. And now he says it's 245%. China, their Department of Commerce released a statement saying they have 100-something% tariffs on the U.S. and they're not going to raise it anymore because it won't actually have an impact. At that point,